into your own triumphant life story? If so, this podcast is for you. Listen to powerful guests who have persevered through challenges so you can gain strength to build your championship life. The host of Professor of Perseverance podcast, Dr. James Purdue.
Hey, come on again today. Hey, it's that time again for us to motivate, inspire, provide some hope, that knowing that when struggles come in life, kick it in the teeth, move on, and have a great life as best as possible from there. Hey, today, my guest, she's going to talk about, I think most of it's going to be about her spouse had a fatal motorcycle accident, but she was raised as a childhood from alcoholic parents. Of course, we all lose loved ones, and she's been living with 3 autoimmune diseases. And so, but her life's passion right now is helping others build resiliency. So when they know that life has come to kick you in the teeth, put your dentures in and live life the best possible. Welcome to the show, Teresa Q. Bitner.
Hi there. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. I am excited to talk about resiliency.
We're going to author of Soul Love, How a Dog Taught Me to Breathe Again. So there's a lot of stuff we can learn from not just dogs, but any animals. I think we get caught up in life because we're the intelligent ones, but we overcomplicate things on what could be simple. And so I have a story that I usually share about a dog, but I'm not going to steal your thunder with your dog. So,
all right,
Teresa, I'm just providing a platform, and glad that you're here, and you're going to help us and help other people. And I'm just going to provide the platform, ask a few questions when need, but it's yours. Take off.
Yeah, no. So I'll give a little backstory as to how it happened. My background is in high tech. I was a software developer and project manager, program manager, executive. Got burnt to a crisp. And my late husband, Chris, and I were both raising 2 boys. And I thought, oh, you know what? I'm done. I'll just stop working. I thought maybe I'd be a stay-at-home mom. Not my jam. So I ended up becoming a middle school science teacher and discovered that executives and middle school kids
We'll
not much
stop right there because I was a middle school science teacher for about 12, 14 years and coached our girls basketball team. So if you actually looked on my shoulder, you see where we won. We won a state championship one year.
Woohoo! That's awesome.
Yeah, all right, yeah. So middle school, boy, those kids are a group of their own.
Yes, I have a special passion in that area because that's kind of when I went off the rails as well and found my own drug and alcohol addictions and went wild, hog wild.
I
call it my turbulent teen years.
There you go.
So when I was teaching, it was a very big change from executive to to a middle school science teacher. But the second year, that fall, is when Chris, my husband, was killed in a motorcycle accident. It was a horrible day. And at that time, the boys were a freshman and senior in high school. It's not a good time for dad to get mowed over. And at that time, I thought I can survive this. I have enough faith in God that, it's like, okay, I can survive this. Never even dreamed of thriving or resiliency. It was like, I can survive. Got to get the boys graduated. That was my only thought. So it was ugly. It's really ugly. I didn't do very good in my coping. It took a while before I actually went and got therapy and things like that. But through faith, family, and friends, and good therapy and counseling, I came out of it. And all through it, people kept saying, "Oh, Teresa, you're so strong. Oh, you're resilient." And I just kept looking at them like, no, I'm surviving. Like, you don't see how ugly this is at home. You just don't even see it.
When the doors closed.
It was not pretty.
Yes.
Yeah, I turned to eating and drinking my way through it because that was the only coping mechanisms I really knew about. Exercise, no thank you. Well-meaning friends brought me a case of wine. So if you're out there and you want to help somebody, maybe not a case of wine. So through that, people kept telling me to write my story. And I didn't want to write a lot of the story because it was pretty embarrassing to me about how yicky things got and how I felt like I was a horrible mom. I was doing things that I wasn't proud of. So Soul Love came about because I had journaled basically on Facebook. I had to post every day so people would know I was alive and didn't off myself. And I agreed I'll
Hmm.
post. And I used that to form the book. And I decided when it was year two, I was like, we need something happy in this house because it is a hot mess right now. We're yelling, we're screaming. It is not pretty. Let's get a dog. We lived out on a ranch in Texas at that time. So I was like, oh, I want a Doberman, a big scary dog. Let's get that.
There we
Um,
go.
Anybody who knows about Dobermans, they look scary. He was the biggest wiener ever. He was just a sissy, looked scary, barked scary, but would rather play with flossy
I
bones
had a
and
friend that had a Doberman, and he named his Zeus.
mm. We named ours Hans because my married name was Klein with a K, and they're German, so it's like Hans, good German name. Well, Hans was a goober, so I got Hans thinking he would help all of us by being, puppies are fun. Who can't have fun and smile with a puppy? And that was kind of the beginning of the turning point. That same year, I decided I needed to get myself together. Like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, this is not happening. So I decided I would get healthy. I set a small goal. I would be beautiful and bold. Didn't even know what that looked like, but bold. I was like, I feel like I need to be bold. And that ended up being my business name as well. Bold Fulfilled Life is my coaching business. So the dog in the book tells the yucky stuff. So you actually hear from the dog talking in there. And he tells about, wow, I'm really scared. We get him as a puppy. And, he talks about being scared and mom's in that dark place. Because many, many nights the boys would be upstairs in their man cave. We built them a man cave over the, playing their video games. It would be me and Hans downstairs and me talking to the box of ashes on the mantle, just screaming, crying, ranting, raving, how dare you leave me, what a mess, blah, blah. And
Hmm.
Hans was there through it all. And I seriously believe he was my therapy dog brought down by God. Really believe that because he was a strange dog. He wasn't like a normal dog. He would just sit there and look with those big brown eyes intensely at you. And we had other dogs and cats and other animals around, and they were kind of sympathetic, but Hans was special. So
Hmm.
the book was written. I kept getting tapped on the shoulder by the universe guy, whatever you want to call it, going, write the book. People need your story. I'm like, I don't want to relive this. This sucked. So I wrote it because it's like, okay, got to write it. It was very therapeutic in a way, but it has taken a life of its own, and been out there helping all kinds of people through their grief, their friends' grief, even animal grief, which kind of wasn't what I was planning for it, but it's been interesting. And it is a story that provides hope because we go through down into the dark place and then we come out of it. And I can happily say that, the boys are now married. I got grandbabies. Life is awesome. And I'm
There you
remarried
go.
as well. So it is really, really good. And that's why I started my coaching business. I got the boys graduated and I was like, you know what? And I went and had somebody gave me free life coaching. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. So I decided, you know what? I've got a good story to tell. And I've
Hmm.
got things inside me. I can provide hope and resiliency to others and help them get through those hard times. So that's what I do. That's what I love talking about.
Well, and
And
like you said, though, we all have a story.
mhm,
No one has to think it has to be some throw it all out, award
mhm,
winning story. It doesn't have to
mhm.
be anything like that. We all have a story. And
Yeah.
just some of us, we endure more than others for whatever
Mhm,
reason. Some of us, it's more severe than others.
mhm,
But we all have a story, and it's a story of, again, of overcoming whatever happened. I don't
mhm,
A lot of people don't tell their story because they think, like you had mentioned, I'm just surviving. I'm not doing anything any different than anyone else. No, you're
mhm,
doing a lot more than what other people are doing because they're sitting there where they really are surviving. You're out
mhm.
there trying to help other
Yeah.
people get into their true mechanisms to do more than just survive.
Yes. Yes. No, and I love nothing more than people go, "Oh, wow, I'm doing things," helping people set goals. And I work with lots of different people, and it's some of the most amazing people come to me, and it's like, wow, that's really hard. And what I've discovered is people want to tell their story, but a lot of other people are uncomfortable hearing it. And it's one of those tell your story. And even if you don't feel like writing, write your story to yourself and give yourself some acknowledge and maybe even celebrate that, hey, I've lived through this. I've
Hey,
survived.
writing it is a great form of therapy.
Mhm.
Putting it
Mhm.
out there, getting it off your chest, and putting it down. And
Mhm.
then whether you make a book out of it or not,
Yeah.
I would encourage them to make a book. You know what I mean? Even if it's just for your own family
Mhm.
and years to come, great kids to read, what you went through. So I would encourage anybody to write a book, especially since
Mhm.
it's so easy, Reddit, to do it today. Um, with
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the print on demand and stuff like that, I would
Mhm.
strongly encourage people to do it. But I understand if they don't do it and everything, because my first book was a memoir, how I got in a wheelchair and everything, and
Mhm.
overcoming, and it took me 12 years to write it because I'm not an author. um, and so so I would just encourage anybody. Someone told me if you wrote only 15 minutes a day, now you got to dedicate yourself for 15 minutes, because
Mhm.
we all get caught up with, well, I didn't have 15 minutes a day. Yeah, you did. Bull crap. Okay, you got 15. But someone told me if you just wrote 15 minutes a day for one full year, you have a
Mhm.
book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and again, it doesn't have to be 200 pages, 150 pages, 1,000 pages. 100 pages or less will help people. So yeah,
Yeah. Definitely. That reminds me of my new husband. We joke that I'm his latest wife because he said I'm his third. But anyway, it's our joke.
there you go. It's all right.
We've been married 9 years now, or 8, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So his mom wrote a kind of a memoir and a story of his family, and she's been gone for a while, and I've never got to meet her. So for me to be able to read that story and the grandkids who were babies when it's so special, and it's just on type, it's a good old fashioned typewritten thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it meant a lot because I got to see into who she is. So I agree, just write it. And even if you just keep it, put it on a piece of paper and write it. And publishing today, it's a PDF or a Word doc, throw it up in KDB on Amazon, and you too can be a published author.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, then you have something to put on your tombstone. Published author. So
Mhm. Mhm.
so from there, I had a friend. She passed away unexpectedly, but we
Mhm.
met in our local Walmart. She was working there, and I used to take my service dog in to walk him around, and we become good friends. And she had said she wrote this story back when she was like, I don't know, 18 years old, and it's just little old, like a Nancy Drew type story and a little
Mhm.
mystery. And I kept encouraging, say, why don't you give me your manuscript? I'll go type it up and everything,
Mhm.
and I'll do everything you need, and you can have your book. And she passed away unexpectedly. And I
Mm.
told her family, if they ever find it, get it to me. I'll get it published for her because I know that's what she wanted. And I hadn't
Mm.
heard anything from them. She's been passed away now 3 years, and hadn't
Mm.
heard anything more from the family. But they knew that's what she wanted,
Oh,
to
wow.
get this done. So I don't know if they just finally threw things away and not paid attention where it's at. I have no idea. But yeah, I wish she would have took care of that when I was offering it.
Yeah, another thought, and even if you don't wanna write it, just voice record it
Well,
because that can.
she actually had it on back then the
Oh.
old cassette tape,
Mhm. Mhm.
and that's what I was going to take it off of,
Yeah.
to you know, transcribe from the
Mhm.
voice record. That's what she offered to me. But yeah. I just wish Donna would have held on long enough to get that to me, and I wish the family would have done something. But oh well, I can't do anything about it. But
Yeah.
I would encourage anyone to write their story out. So
It's a great processing tool, and if you're not a writer, draw, paint, make music. I know other people have done
yeah,
that.
exactly. It doesn't have to be
Mhm.
the formal writing. You can make your old picture book,
Yeah.
and tell your story that way.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's a lot of ways they can do it. Hire someone to write for you. You just dictate it, and they'll
Mhm.
transcribe it and do it. So all right,
Yep.
we jumped off topic a lot here
Oh.
on the, but strongly encourage anyone to do the book. All right, so now um, you've gone through, and so
Mhm.
what have you learned? Your copy your book again, put up here. It's
Mhm.
Soul Love: How a Dog Taught Me to Breathe Again, and you talk about your dog Hans,
Mhm.
and what other than staring at you intently like he's really listening,
Mm.
what else did he teach you to help, in shorter words, to help survive and live again?
I think the biggest thing, dogs and pets of any type, like, kittens, puppies, wild animals, when they're young, they're so full of life and they're exploring and curious. And I think that's that is a resiliency skill, is to kind of be curious. Like, wow, I'm depressed again. I can't get out of bed if that's you. Okay, let's get curious about that. And, did I not sleep well? What's going on? And you just find that curiosity and lean into it without judgment. Animals and babies don't judge themselves. They're like, oh, I fell down 37 times. Okay, I'll get up. Um,
That's right.
gi-
That's right.
Give yourself some grace there and go, okay, I'm not getting up today. Maybe I can get a shower later. If you can crawl to the shower, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Uh,
a big into the forgiving yourself. That
mhm.
we're taught to forgive others that we have perceived did us wrong,
Mhm.
but for some reason we're not taught that we should forgive ourselves for our stupid mistakes. And
Yeah,
believe it or not, as we get older, we're still going to make stupid mistakes. Hopefully, we're learning and they're not as gigantuous as
yeah,
when we were teenagers.
yeah.
I've seen too many people that want to live. I can't go get a job because I got a DUI 40 years ago.
Oh
40
wow.
years ago, and you can't get a job?
Yeah.
You know, well, I got a friend like that. So,
Hmm.
no, I said, no, you just don't want a job, you know, and so from there. But yeah, there's too many people want to hang on to the past. And so, you
Yeah.
know what, I'm going to plug my little thing here. Go to my
Yep.
website, professorperseverance.com, and you can get a free mini course and a PDF of the book, Your Past Doesn't Have a Future, but You Do. Create Your Future Today. So, all right, sorry for the plug.
No, that's good. You do you. I'm good with that.
There you
Um,
go.
that made me think about, and I had an epiphany moment. That people, and this is one of the things, people, like, oh, go join this widows group. I'm like, okay, I'm 42 years old and a widow. Great. I don't want to hang out with 80-year-olds.
That's right.
But I went, and there happened to be a lady there, and her husband happened to be killed by a motorcycle too. And I
Okay.
remember thinking, and she was talking about it, and I kind of knew of her from work and things and her past. And she was so bitter and angry. And I'm dragging my daughters to every parole meeting, and I'm going to make sure he pays, and just vitriol, vitriol, vitriol. And it was an epiphany, kind of a turning point for me, because I left that dinner going, I don't want to be that. I do
Yes.
not want to be that
Yes.
person. I don't want to be defined by my grief. And that's whatever you have, be it a disease, an illness, whatever. Um, if you let that define you, you're missing out on all the rest of you that you've been given to give to the world. And that was a big epiphany for me. And I realized I don't want to be defined by that. Yes, I am a widow. That is part of my experience. It's given me lots of learning from, like, oh, how to be a single mom. Well, that sucks.
I would
How to
like to get
do
out to this one girl I went to school with. I've reached out to her a couple times. She hadn't got back with me, but we went to school together. She was two grades below me, but we met up here a couple years ago and found out she's a 3-time widow, and she's been
oh,
married three
oh,
times, and all 3 times
ugh,
they passed on. And I would love to get her insight on how she persevered and
that's
resilient to
mhm,
continue on living. And so, but she's not ready, I don't guess, because she hadn't got
mhm.
back to me. And so, hopefully, when she gets ready, that she'll come on and help someone. So,
Yeah, that's a rough one for sure. And it's not like you have one loss and that's the end of it. Because I grew up and I had my aunties die and people had cancer and friends suicide and accidents,
oh
and I
yeah,
thought I got grief. I'm like, oh yeah, grief, whatever, you do your thing and you get
yeah,
over
yeah,
it
yeah.
until that happened. And so, I mean, you continue to have losses. I started my business, and that was the year my mom, says decided, but she had congestive heart failure and was sick. So I'm starting a business, flying back and forth. I live in Austin, Texas, and back and forth to Florida to care for her. And then she passed, and I was like, oh, this is more grief. And I had a coach then, and I told my coach, I'm like, well, I got to shut my business down. I can't do this. She's like, why? I said, well, people might see me cry. She's like, okay, you're human. That's really good. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
keep on. She said, keep on. Don't stop what you're doing. It's good stuff. There will be more losses in your life, but use them to learn. And that's another resiliency thing, is no matter what's going on, what's either the opportunity, the learning, the lessons, or even gifts that you're learning. And through my mom's death, I'll never forget. I'm like, I'm a coach. I'm sitting at the stoplight, bawling, coming from the hospital again. And it's like, what can you learn from this? I'm like, well, I'm learning an awful lot about the elder care system in America. Wow.
Oh, that is a topic in itself.
Yes, I'm
Good
actually
gracious,
writing a
yes.
second memoir on that.
Yeah.
It's coming slow. It's called Elder Care Nightmare: Mission of Love, and it's about caring for, and it's written for people who are caring for your parents that were, they did the best they can. I love my parents, but they, the abusers and all of that, because it's a
Hmm.
complexity of a dysfunctional family and the dynamics that build it. So yeah, that was, and that's one thing to always look at. What's the opportunity? What can you learn from it? And now Dad's in
And
memory care, and I get to be the caregiver for my abuser,
and
which
give
is
give you
interesting.
give you a little what would I say, little advice maybe, all right, advice maybe,
Uh-huh.
that if you're ever coaching or with someone and they may
Hmm.
see you cry, if it's an authentic
Hmm.
cry,
Oh
just
yeah.
happens to happen because you're discussing, they will get more out of that than all of a sudden you go and pinch yourself and make yourself cry.
Hmm. Hmm.
If it's authentic, they'll know it, and
Absolutely.
they'll get more out of that, knowing that you're open up front, not hiding anything, and let them know, like
Hmm.
your coach said, you're still human and you
Hmm.
still have these emotions. So yeah, I would encourage, if
Hmm.
it ever start welling up, that you know even when you're trying to hold back, they know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
So.
it's happened, and I'm like, oh, hold on a minute. This coaching's about you, but I'm getting triggered, so give me a minute.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and it's
So
like, okay, here I'm
yeah,
back.
yeah, they'll definitely get more out of that than
Yeah.
faking things around
Yeah,
it.
no, I don't know.
So
Fake is gross. I don't believe in faking. Fake is
now
gross.
let me go back to my quick dog story. That I was going to
Sure.
school one day to teach, and I come around the curve, and apparently this black lab had gotten hit before I
Mhm.
got there by another car, and there was two vehicles on the side of the road, and you could see this dog. It was paralyzed in the back hind
Oh.
end where he got hit, and I'm coming around the road, and all of a sudden I stopped and everything, and but then I look at there, he's on his belly, and he's taking his two front
Mhm.
paws, dragging himself off the road, because he wants
Mm.
to survive and live another day. Now, I don't know whatever happened to the dog. I don't know if someone took him to a vet. I don't know if they got him fixed. I don't know if they got him a wheelchair. You see these wheelchairs for
Mhm.
dogs now, or if they put him down. I have no idea. But just watching him getting off the road to survive, live another day, not to get hit by a car. And I was thinking that day, of course, again, we talked earlier that I'm a spinal cord injury, got my neck broke playing football, and was told I would never walk again, possibly not move from the neck down. At the age of 19, he put me in a nursing home. I'd never get any better, is what he told. And so here I am teaching and coaching, and I see this dog, and I'm going like this. I'm going, man, we're the most complex, high intelligent creatures on this ball of dirt. And sometimes we make things more complicated than it is. Now, not to say that poor pitiful me, I kicked and broke my toe going to the bathroom. I've got cancer,
Mhm.
a spinal cord injury. I'm paralyzed. I'm not saying that's not bad. You shouldn't concentrate. Still get help. Still do the best you can and go from there. But it's when we dwell on it and we
Mhm.
don't want to do anything to get better and don't want to seek the help, and we just want to lay in bed, let someone feed us, and watch their TV programs because we can't change it. That's
Yeah.
where, yeah, we can learn a lot, like you said, from your dog, Hans, from that dog that was dragging itself,
Mhm.
that there's so much more in life. We just don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, I love that because we do overcomplicate it. We think about it and we have, depressive moods. And sure, you want to take time to grieve the losses of mobility. I'm continually with my autoimmune diseases grieving the things I can't do anymore, but there's so much that you can do. And another resiliency thing is having gratitude for what you have. Like, okay, I woke up today.
Hmm.
Do I have a roof over my head? Check. Can I have clean water and food? In America, a lot of people do, some people don't, but what can you be grateful for? And another thing is, can you see the future and see some hope? Resilient people are able to go, in the future, I wanna, or I think I can, and project that and see that this is a season of life. It's not forever. You
Yes.
know, Mom dying, that wasn't forever. may have an autoimmune diseases. They're forever, but golly gee, there's, alternative medicine and good doctors out there. Don't take no for an answer. I've
Hmm.
blogged some on that. So, I had some new things come up and they're like, oh, let's try this medicine. I'm like, no, it's making me sick. Let's try a different one.
Just there you go.
Advocate for yourself
I've
because,
had two other guests on my show 2 different times, and
mhm,
both of them pretty much said equally that you need to know your body
yes.
more than your doctor does. You know, too
Mhm,
many people go in. The doctor said do this, take this, and they don't question anything. And
right.
I know I'm getting sick from it, but I don't. I'll tell them when I go see them in a month. And no, know yourself better than your own doctor does.
Absolutely. Because you live in it 24/7, 365. The doctor
That's
sees you for
right.
15 minutes twice a year
That's
through
right.
the they don't know. Yeah, they don't know unless you tell them and not to hide what or be embarrassed by whatever's happening. You know, have an IBSD. That's not a great topic to talk about, but it's like, hey, this is not okay. Like, I am not okay, people. And you know what? It was just simple diet changes. Take fiber pills. The one doctor wanted to give me a bunch of medication that cost thousands of dollars, and luckily insurance turned it down. So I was like, hey, what else can we do? Try
There you
this.
go.
Hey, I'm good. Yeah. So, and being willing to try new things. That's another resiliency skill is trying new things. It's like, okay, what can I learn? The pandemic, a lot of people learned crafts and things like that, but keep learning. That ability to learn and grow helps you to be, all that you can be. There's all kinds of things you can do in this world.
Oh yeah, your
I,
life. You're still whatever age you're at. You can still
mhm,
find a different purpose in life.
mhm.
And again, I'm all for we ought to be helping other people somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
If we have something, don't be greedy and hold it forever, and no one else can benefit from it.
Mhm,
Give it away, share it, pay,
mhm,
make them pay for it. Something that's if it's going to help them,
mhm.
share it with them somehow. So
Yeah, definitely. Well, and it doesn't have to be, financial. It can be your time. It can be whatever gifts you've been given. Go read to a kid in
That's
school.
another that's one of my next book I've get it written. I just got to go back and re-edit and stuff. And it's sharing our gifts. And
Mm. Mhm,
and a lot of it can be like you said, won't cost you a lick of cents, no
mhm,
penny, a dime, nothing. It's just you got a special talent and you know how to use it and you can help someone. Again, I can't mow my neighbor's yard if she needed it, but I can call someone I know that mows yard and to get it taken care of for her.
mhm.
From
Yeah.
there, and I'm good. I'm good at this. I used to work on cars and automobiles before I got in the wheelchair, and so I love income tax time. Okay, because people are throwing their TVs away to get an upgrade. People are
Oh.
putting their microwaves out there to get an upgrade. Their dishwasher out there that's getting an upgrade. They still work, but because they're getting an upgrade and then they put out there free, take it. And I'll go grab what I can and then I'll give it to someone that I
Mm.
know can use it. I don't keep it for me. I give it away.
That's
So
beautiful.
well, hey, you
That's a
want to, and
beautiful
it
pay
doesn't
it
cost
forward.
me a cent. It doesn't cost me
Mhm,
anything to have someone load it up in my van for me, and then we clean it up a little bit and take it. And if it needs working on, we'll work on it a little bit. And so, hey, one of my funniest finds is a guy was cleaning out his garage, and he had a lawnmower, push lawnmower out there. And
mhm.
I stopped and I had a friend. We just, hey, put that in the back of my car and everything. We'll go because I used to work on stuff like that. And he's loading it up in my car, and dude hollers, "It doesn't work." Dude said with me, he said, "James," he said, "it doesn't work." Because that's all right. Go ahead and put it in the back of the car because we can work on it and see what we can use. And dude hollered again, "It don't run." James, don't just put it back here. Even if the motor's no good, I can use the frame from another
Mhm.
motor or something. And so took it over to my brother at that time, and we got over there looking at it. He pulled a cord a couple of times, and then he took the gas cap off and looked down in there, poured gas in it, then pulled it 3 more times, and it ran for 2 years. And the guy goes, "It doesn't work." We
Needs
know it doesn't.
gas.
If you don't have that go-go juice. So yeah, so that was one of my funniest finds. So
No, I love that because you're recycling as well and less trash and just doing good things for other people. That also
and
makes me think about you can't give from an empty cup. So take really good
Uh,
care of yourself.
amen, sister. Yes,
Yeah.
you
Do the
cannot
best that
help
you can.
anybody if you don't have to be selfish in the selfish way
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
to again not share if someone needs it, stuff like that. But you need to be selfish in your way to keep your health up and going because if you're having bad health, you're not going to help anybody else. So
mm-mm.
so amen to that. That's a great point to bring.
Absolutely. And taking care of yourself isn't, bubble baths, chocolates, and manicures. I mean, those are nice, or
Hmm.
massages. It could be, that, my house is messy. I need to clean it. That helps take care of your environment. Or, wow, the dog really needs groomed. Maybe I'll go get the dog groomed or things like that. And it could be simple things of taking care of yourself, like, to help really, my clothes don't fit good or they're itchy. Or I just watched, there was a webinar I was on and this guy was talking about, he's trying to write a book and um, his pants were bugging him. He's like, "This is stupid. Get rid of the pants that are bugging you." Like if something doesn't feel good and doesn't help you, if you're wearing things that don't fit, go get something new. You can go to, Goodwill, Savers, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg, but do what makes sense to take care of you so that you can be the best you out there in the world.
That's right. That reminds me. I got a couple of shirts. I don't know if I'm too big for the shirt or the shirt's too small for me. I gotta I gotta figure that out and then
Yeah.
give me a new shirt.
Yeah, I give you permission. I give everybody permission. Like if it doesn't fit good and you're still wearing it, and it's like, okay, the COVID 30 for me, the COVID
Oh
whatever.
yes.
It's like, you know what?
Oh,
Just do if you're gonna get healthy, do that. Great, that's awesome if you can eat. But if not, you know what? Find something that's comfy.
there you go.
Life's
So
too short to be miserable in your own britches.
that reminds me, and I sorry to jump in like this as well, but I met this one woman at a rehab I went to, and she was a bodybuilder. I mean, she
Mm,
was working, looking good, and I got to talking to her. Name was Mona, and so I got to asking some of the physical therapies because I was there for rehab,
hmm.
and I asked about her, and they said, "Hey, you wouldn't believe Mona. She weighed over 300 pounds, and
Wow.
she got into this fitness and
Hmm.
really muscle building. She goes does contests and everything for women bodybuilding and everything. About 4 or 5 years later, I go back just to visit
Hmm.
some of the therapists and tell them hello and everything. I see Mona go by me, and she'd put all that weight back on, quit working out and everything. And I mentioned
Hmm.
something to the therapist, and they said yes. She said that even though she was healthier, she felt better than she ever had, but she wasn't happy with herself. She couldn't
Mm.
do what she wanted to do. She couldn't
Interesting.
be, and she decided she'd rather be happy in everything she does, if it including her being fat, than eating little finger sandwiches and working out
Hmm.
3 or 4 hours a day. And she'd rather go back to that. And I mean, you gotta give it to
Hmm.
her that if that's going to make you happy, then you need to do what makes you happy. Uh,
Yeah.
we
Yeah. I
don't need to
mean,
judge anybody
mm-mm.
for how unhealthy they may look because
Yeah.
we don't know if
Mm.
that's pleasure to them and keeping them going and healthy, then everything else, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. And it's, walk a mile in my shoes kind of a thing. It's like, okay, if you take autoimmune depressants or steroids, you're going to gain weight. That's kind of like what happens now. Granted, I have
Hmm.
my own little food issues, but yeah, body shaming, all of that. No, it's like whatever, you have, be as healthy as you can for you and, take it one day at a time. It just if you can still walk. If you can walk, you can walk. If not, you can do arm exercises. You can do breathing exercises, meditations, things to keep yourself, as good as you can. It's like the lawnmower or your vehicle. You might have an old beater truck. We had one of those, but you keep the oil changes going, keep some gas in it, it'll keep trucking.
It'll
Good
keep
old
going. That's right. You
Ford
take
truck will
care of
go for a
you,
long time.
you take care of it, and it'll take care of you.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
all right, Teresa. Hey, this has been remarkably amazing learning from you and everything you've been through with your. I enjoyed the title of your book and everything. We'll put it up there again with the
Thank you. It's on
Soul
Amazon.
Love. Yeah, go ahead and tell people where they can find it and your websites and other
Sure,
social
sure.
media.
Absolutely. So Soul Love is available on Amazon. It's also available on Barnes and Noble, paperback, Kindle, and hardback. If you want a signed copy, I will sign a copy for you, and you just find that. You go to my website. It's boldfulfilledlifecoach, one word.com, and just click on the book. It'll tell you all about it. And then you just tell me what you want to write in there, and I'll do it. So it's bold, BOLD, fulfilled, FULFILLED, life coach, LIFECOACH.com. I also have, if you go to my resources page, I have free ebooks that I give away as well. There's a couple of them out there. There's a free Resilience and Change ebook that you can get, and it just talks about that, how you can some resiliency steps. There's also, if you're in a, and that's off the homepage, or if you'd prefer and you're grieving and you're in loss and you just don't, you're stuck in your grief journey, there's a little assessment you can take, and it'll kind of assess where you are. And you can, after that, you can check with me. I can give you insights for free, and we could book a free, discovery or not. So yeah, and my website also has tons of resources for resiliency, grief and loss. I even have a "Are you ready for death" checklist because so many people have asked me, I don't know
Oh,
what to do.
yes, that. I was just talking to someone just yesterday, and death and dying thing, and how many people are just scared to death of death.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's part of our normal cycle of life and everything,
Uh-huh.
And I mean, only thing we say is like your checklist and everything gives you a to prepare better
Hmm.
for it, and
Hmm.
then you're more at ease at it, and from there. So yeah. I don't know if a lot of people were scared as much as they're
I don't want to talk about it.
well that and they don't think they fulfilled their full life, maybe
Mm.
regrets. Maybe the regrets I'm thinking of. Maybe that, and I haven't done everything I wanted to do.
Ah.
Thing. I don't know if that's it. I'm that I can understand for younger people that hadn't lived as long, but people who lived to be 70, 80, 90. You
Hmm.
know, I would think they would be more comfortable with it. So, but yeah, that's a great topic, and I'm
Yeah.
glad you offered that for them
Mhm.
as a checklist to better prepare for it. That's good.
Yeah. Well, it's not if, it's when. I always say that. And
Yeah,
if you have your affairs in orders, because thank goodness we had a will. Krista just signed a life insurance policy, a new one that helped us. And even if you have it all together, it's still so stinking hard. So
yeah.
doing what you can to prepare for your family and also communicating that plan. We could have a whole nother talk about preparing for death kind of a thing, because if your loved ones don't know what you want, it makes it really awkward. Um,
Little story here. This was sad. This one woman, she had a lot of money that lives
mm,
close to us, and so they took and bought built a mausoleum type thing for them to be
okay.
9 of them to put in there, so people can go by and see their coffin down inside there. And her husband's in there, her son is in there. When she passed away, the other children had her cremated.
Oh,
Didn't put her in with dad and brother.
oh.
Didn't I don't know again. I don't know how they wouldn't have known that's what she wanted. I have no I don't know what the problem is. I just feel how sad that is. Like you said, somehow communication
Mhm.
wasn't put, and she's not there with the her son and husband.
Mhm.
So yeah, wow, yes, great. Yeah, got to have great some communication to let people know your final wishes.
Mhm. Yeah, and if you're gonna get cremated, what are you gonna do with the ashes? Because nothing's sadder. I had a client, she had, like, all her family and her husband's family, and they were on a shelf in the garage. Probably not what people plan for, so make a plan for those ashes, otherwise they get kicked around in the family and it's weirdness.
And that as well, my younger brother passed away, and my mom, we had him cremated, and my mom has his ashes in my garage. And
Mm,
her thing is, she's going to be 82 in 2 weeks, but her thing is, and he's been dead 12 years. Her thing
mhm.
is, it's the final thing because she wants to go spread his ashes. But if she does it and they're all gone, it's the final goodbye. And I'm going, okay, it's been the final goodbye for 12 years, Mom. And I try not to push it, but
You're like,
yeah,
"Woo."
exactly.
Yes.
Let people know what you want done with your ashes as well. So you
Mhm.
don't have, like you just mentioned, and I just mentioned, a garage of dust hanging around.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
So,
we could talk all day for that one, yeah, because we
all
yeah. I've got
right,
stories I
Teresa.
could tell.
Oh, I bet you do. All right, Teresa. Hey, I really enjoy your humor with this because again, we go through a lot,
Mhm.
and a lot of people lose their humor through
Mm,
this, and which
mhm.
is understandable. But
Yeah,
again, once you heal and learn and express things, build this experience, get back to your normal, and don't be afraid to live again. And so,
exactly.
I tell people that sometimes to smell the roses, we have to walk through fertilizer to get to it. And
Yes.
so, so yeah, so we. Uh, just have to do the best we can and move on. Teresa, I appreciate you being here. This has been amazing. And hey, we know there's people hurting and struggling today.
Mhm.
If you can leave us with a positive message to help them get through today, that'd be a blessing.
I would be happy to. So, for those of you out there listening to this, the professor of perseverance, perseverance, that means to go through and continue and survive. And remember, every day you wake up with a choice, and a great question to ask yourself is, who do I get to be today? And it's instead of what do I have to do, which is "Bleh," or I have to, gotta, is who do I get to be? Ooh, I get to be on a podcast. Yay, I get to be a podcast guest was my thing this morning. After this, I get to go be a patient with the rheumatologist. Bleh, not much fun. But think about who do you get to be and what kind of image and or message or blessing can you give to somebody else? Can you do something nice? Even just smile at the cashier in the drive-through and say, "Hey, how you doing today?" And really listen. Really listen. So you can be a blessing to others, and once you start doing that, the blessings will flow right on back to you.
Amen, sister. Yeah, I like the little simple, just give a smile because there's
Mhm.
probably an idiot there 10 minutes before you got there that
Mhm.
put them in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you be the light, don't be the crumbler and
Mhm.
everything. So all right, Teresa, hey, thank you for being on here. Everyone else, hey, be sure to share this out to someone that you knew can use some humor in some horrific situations and going from there and how to build resiliency and to persevere. I'm Dr. James Purdue, the professor of perseverance. Thank you for coming on to Professor of Perseverance podcast. Do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.